Goodall appeared on the NBC show America's Got Talent, and he not only wowed the crowd with his singing, he also impressed the judges. Goodall received a golden buzzer.
America, one more time for your winner, Richard Goodall, and give it up for all of the finalists.
His real father saw him on TV before he even knew he had a son. That's not the twist. That's just the warm-up. A man met his own father for the first time at 55 years old. And his father already knew his face, not from a photo, not from a memory, but from watching him sing on TV months earlier, with zero idea he was looking at his own son. Nobody tells you that part when they talk about this story. They just talk about the win, the buzzer, the confetti. That's the real story here, not the janitor part, not even the $1 million. Richard Goodall spent 23 years mopping floors at a middle school in Terre Haute, Indiana. In 2022, a student secretly filmed him singing while he worked and posted it online without asking. That video spread fast. Within days, even Steve Perry, the man who wrote the actual song, shared it himself. People everywhere were saying the same thing. This guy is too good to be cleaning cafeteria tables. 2 years later, America's Got Talent finally called. He'd never been on a plane before that trip. He won the whole show anyway, at 55 years old, the oldest winner in its history. That much, a lot of people already know. What most people don't know is everything that was happening underneath it, quietly, while the world only saw a friendly janitor with a big voice. Back in 2021, Goodall lost his wife, Patricia, to cancer. She'd stood by him through years of quiet setbacks, including an earlier audition for The Voice that went absolutely nowhere, not even a callback. There was also a small gospel band he used to sing with, just for the joy of it, that fell apart when the pandemic hit and every venue shut its doors. After Patricia passed, he kept going to work the next morning anyway, because that was simply who he was, a man who showed up, even when his whole world had quietly fallen apart behind him. He didn't know it yet, but that pain would end up living inside every note he sang later on national television, without a single viewer knowing why his voice carried so much weight. Then, in 2022, he met a woman named Angie. Not a fan. Not someone chasing his new fame, because there wasn't any yet. Just an ordinary man cleaning floors in a small Indiana town. Just a woman who liked him as Richard, before the world knew his name. She became the steady person he leaned on through everything that came after. The auditions, the flights, the cameras, all of it. They got married in September 2024, one single day after his performance in the AGT finals, keeping the whole thing quiet and private instead of turning it into a TV moment. A wedding built entirely around the two of them instead of the show that made him famous. He later thanked her directly during his winning moment, saying her support was one of the biggest reasons he found the courage to keep pushing through every round of the competition. Here's where the story stops, sounding like real life. Angie pushed Goodall to finally do something he'd avoided for his entire life: look for his biological father. He'd been adopted as a baby and had made peace years earlier with never knowing where the other half of his story came from. Using a simple ancestry website, the two of them found a man named Hubert, a retired police dog handler and Army veteran living less than an hour away, this whole time, in Indianapolis. Now here's the part that should genuinely surprise you. Hubert had no idea Goodall existed. 55 years, and he never once knew he had a son out there somewhere. But when they finally connected, he already recognized Goodall's face, not from any old photo tucked away in a drawer. From television, he'd already seen the singing janitor on AGT months earlier, with no idea at all that he was watching his own child perform in front of millions of people. When the two men finally spoke on the phone, Hubert reportedly asked, still stunned, almost unable to believe it, if Goodall was really that same guy from the singing show he'd watched. Sit with that for a second. A father found out he had a son by watching a talent competition on his own couch, and didn't even realize it until later, when the pieces finally came together. They met not long after that first phone call. In one single afternoon, Goodall gained a brother and two sisters he never knew existed. People who'd been living their own lives, completely unaware of him, this entire time. 55 years of not knowing, gone in one conversation, replaced almost instantly with an entire family he never expected to find. And even after all of that, even after winning $1 million, Goodall did something almost nobody expected. He went back to work. Same school, same uniform, same mop, the same one he'd pushed down those hallways for over 2 decades. For 2 more full years, he kept cleaning classrooms at West Vigo Middle School, telling one interviewer in 2025 that he'd simply keep working there until he couldn't anymore. His co-workers stopped treating him any differently, and honestly, he said that felt like a relief instead of a letdown, just being the same guy in the hallway every morning. His hometown never stopped showing up for him either. Long before he'd ever won anything, when the show first needed him to fly out to Los Angeles, it wasn't a network or a sponsor who covered the cost. It was his own neighbors, friends, and total strangers who'd watched that first viral video, pooling together their own money through small local fundraisers, just to make sure he could afford that first flight. When he came home a champion, the town gave him a key to the city, and the school held a pep rally in his honor, with students cheering and teachers in tears. Meanwhile, quietly, in the background, he was also building a music career at his own pace, releasing a debut single in Nashville, singing the national anthem at a Pacers game, and eventually returning to the AGT stage to perform alongside Journey's own guitarist, the exact band whose song had started this whole story in the first place, all those years ago in that cafeteria. Then, finally, after 25 years on the job, Richard Goodall retired. Not because fame demanded it, and not because he suddenly needed the money, just because the timing finally felt right to him. He said walking those school hallways one last time hit him harder than his original audition ever did. Harder than singing in front of a national television audience. Harder than almost anything else he'd been through. He's admitted that leaving a steady paycheck for the unpredictable world of entertainment scared him more than performing in front of millions of people ever had, which says something about how much that job and that community actually meant to him. And right after that, one more twist landed, the kind you genuinely couldn't make up. A movie studio bought his life story. Real producers, a real screenwriter already attached to the project, working on turning his entire journey into an actual feature film. Think about everything packed into one ordinary man's life. A wife he lost too soon, and grief he carried quietly into every performance afterward. A stranger's phone video that changed everything completely by accident, filmed by a kid who never even asked permission. A father who had no idea his son existed until he saw him singing on national television, recognizing a face he'd never met in person. 3 new siblings discovered in a single afternoon, an entire family appearing out of nowhere after 55 years of silence. 2 more years spent quietly mopping floors after becoming a millionaire, simply because that's who he really was underneath all of it. And now, a movie deal, proving his life was too strange and too moving for anyone to have made up on purpose. That's the actual story behind Richard Goodall. Not a tidy biography, laid out year by year like a resume. Not a straight line from janitor to star. A man who lost almost everything once, quietly found a family he never knew he had, and never once stopped showing up to work while his whole world rearranged itself around him. One impossible surprise at a time. Here are 10 things about Richard Goodall's story that sound completely made up, except every single one of them actually happened. Here's the fast version, before we slow down and unpack it. If any part of this genuinely surprised you, let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more real stories worth telling.